Hey Clashers, you have suggested crazy armies with the new stuff coming in this update, with the new Apprentice Warden, with the new clone spell level, and you have suggested mind-blowing stuff, okay? Like clone Super Witch Blimp or clone Super Dragon Blimp, doing a Queen charge with the Apprentice Warden, and many other like completely crazy stuff. And I just thought, let's just try all of this out in the video. Let's try the crazy ideas of the community and see if they work. But before we're diving into all of those, quick reminder, if you're buying anything from the in-game shop, like offers, like the gold pass, whatever, feel free to support your favorite content creator with using their content creator code. For me, it is code iTzu. I really appreciate that. But now let's get ready with the first suggestion of yours, which is Queen Charge Super Hybrid, which means Super Miners and Super Hog Riders. First off though, we need a comparison, okay? We need to somehow figure out, is this now good or bad? This is why I will quickly show you again the result overall of this regular Queen Charge Hybrid, because we're going to replicate this exact attack with Queen Charge Super Hybrid. So you can kind of compare this somewhat and you can see how we finish, and I kind of just skip through because the main part of this is we want to see the Super Hybrid. We don't want to watch the Queen Charge Hybrid. We have seen that already plenty of times, but I want to give you guys a nice idea of what you can compare it with strength-wise, okay? And you can see this is quite a nice overkill, right? Like, this is a pretty solid overkill. So I thought, let's just do the exact same thing again, but this time with the hybrid, which is Super Miners and Super Hog Riders. The Queen Charge and everything is the exact same. The lucky thing with this attack though is we don't need Sneaky Goblins for funneling, and we don't need the Super Wall Breaks to get into the base. This is the first problem, okay? Like, this is the first thing. The Queen Charge went exactly the same way, so we're just skipping that and just going straight into the fun, straight into the action, which is the Super Hybrid. The Super Hybrid just pushing in as the other one, right? But I think, especially on the back end, this is where the HP should really show. As well, what I did with this army is I added more rages to the army because I feel like the more HP should really boost those troops through the core. At least that was my thinking, okay? So let's see if that will work. We have the rage in place, we have the Super Hog Riders going, everything looks great. At this point, we have the King Dan, which was not the case earlier. I don't know how, but it doesn't have the Phoenix. But we'll just keep going. Maybe we can even make it with the handicaps, wagging an entire pet in this army. We have the Queen going down, but we have the Hogs, or the Super Hogs, and the Super Miners keep going. And with that being said, you can see with the healer switching, that's actually a good thing for us because it keeps those healthy troops, or those troops with a lot of hit points, even more healthy, getting them into the back end. With this being said, because I kind of swagged the pet on this one, which is maybe a bit unfair if you want to compare it, but considering that, it is a pretty crazy result. I would have not expected that this base would have been so crashed by this attack, because we have quite a few Super Miners, and remember, every single Super Miner surviving is like quite a few of the regular miners, like that 4 of the regular miners, and we have like how many, did we have even one of them dying? I don't know, like we have plenty of them alive. So I think overall, if you have a nice Queen Charge without needing wall breaks or Sneaky Goblins, the Super Hybrid is for sure a valid option, especially if you're not going into like single Inferno Towers. If you're going to multi-Inferno Towers, it is great, and it's a really good suggestion by you guys. Next attack is the same Queen Charge, but this time with the Apprentice Warden. So many of you were saying iTzu try the Apprentice Warden in the Queen Charge, because I feel like a lot of you expected that the Apprentice Warden aura would actually prevent healers going down versus Black Mines, which is not the case. One Black Mine is dealing 2,800 damage, and one healer is having 1,800 HP. Which means that 30% is not getting them over the 2,800 damage, which is unfortunate, but this is the first thing which is kind of problematic. The next thing is, with so much damage in the base for Town of 15 and Town of 14 as well, it is just so hard to keep the Apprentice Warden alive, even with the rage, because they are having, like, it's having kind of like a close range. It's not having the same range as the Warden, it has more like the same range as the Queen. Which sometimes is not bad, because this means the splash healing of the healers can keep it alive at least a little bit. But as soon as you charge the Town Hall or into a multi-Inferno Tower or into a scatter shot, or like all of the splash buildings at some point, you would just lose the Apprentice Warden. So overall, it was a great idea, but for 20 housing space, for me personally, a big no-no. I would not do it. The next thing now is, you have suggested, let's just use the Super Archer Blimp and then use the Warden ability for the Blimp, and then use the Apprentice Warden on the other side with your Titans. That sounds really good, right? Because for every single Electro Titan, this is a buff of around about 2,500 hit points for every single Titan for the Apprentice Warden just being around. This sounds strong, so let's give it a try. With the Super Archer Blimp, by the way, not being dead, I mean, I've seen so many comments, like, the Blimp got nerfed. It did not get killed, okay? There's a difference, guys. There's a huge difference. Super Archer Blimp is still a viable option, still working, everything is fine. Don't panic, or happy, whatever side you're representing in this discussion, but overall, Super Archer Blimp is still, like, it's still fine, it's still viable, it's just usable, so don't worry. And now we have the Titans going in with the Apprentice Warden. But you will figure out a problem in this approach in just a second, because the Apprentice Warden is really good with troops which have a lot of hit points. But there is one problem. Those troops have as well a lot of housing space. This means we can only bring 4 Titans. So the Multi-Inferno Tower is having 5 beams. So as long as all of those beams are not tanked, all of them, by the King and the 4 Titans, well, the Apprentice Wardens get targeted because the range is not as big as the regular Warden. And this Apprentice Warden did not even survive the first compartment. That just, I would not use it. It is just so bad. In theory, on paper, the Apprentice Warden looks good. But in the end, it's not really. Next try, okay? Next try. With the Super Bowler army, we're going to have a regular Super Bowler smash, as I have shown you already in the sneak peeks. And you can use the Apprentice Warden with the flank, with the King, and with the P.E.K.K.A. and with the Siege Barracks. This is what you suggested as well, and yes, that works great. If you want to check out my sneak peek video again about the Apprentice Warden, this is where I use this strategy. It's working great, it's amazing. But now, with Zap Titans, that was the next approach for you guys, it's the same problem. It's 4 troops tanking, and then again, which troop do you replace? Do you remove 1 Titan? That is then a lot of more hit points lost. Or do you remove witches, but then you have time problems? And remember, creating a super tank versus Town Hall 15 with having the Monolith on defense is way worse than just having multiple tanky troops. But don't worry, I'm not hating on every single approach, because some of you were actually coming up with the strategy, which I came up already as well. And we had the same idea apparently there, which is, that's right, it's Super Giants. But we'll talk about that more in the future, because I have a separate video about that. Because the synergy is amazing. Now, the next one. We're going to get to the cloned blimps. First one, I don't know what the person who suggested this was like thinking, but I will just give it a try. So, cloned Super Witches, ladies and gentlemen. Cloned Super Witches. Kind of played as a Super Archer Blimp. I don't know how to play it, okay? I just saw the suggestion. iTzu, please show me how clone Super Witch could work. And I just try it, okay? I just try what people tell me in the comments and that's the community. But have I played it right? I mean, I don't know. It does not... Maybe I've missed something. Who knows? Maybe I did not play this the right way. But to me, it does not look that crazy. Maybe the... I don't know, maybe the combination... I don't know, maybe I played it wrong. Let me know in the comments. But the next thing I want to try, because a lot of people suggested that, is the Super Dragon Blimp with the clone. And that sounds kind of interesting, because, again, we're not like... I don't know, like having maybe the craziest synergy, but let's just give it a try. Maybe you're finding crazy stuff, especially with how many suggestions you guys had. So, we're going to have the Blimp, we have the Super Dragon flying in, we have a Rage, we have a Clone, everything is fine. And the cool thing with this Dragon is, it's so tanky, it's so crazy tanky, that I only have to use the invisibility spell when it's actually taking damage. Like, no damage taken, now the Queen is attacking, so I'm turning them invisible. So whenever they take damage, this is the point where I turn them invisible, and I don't have them invisible all the time, because why should I, right? Like, there is no point in doing so. The problem, though, is that at some point, the dragons just disappear because the clone spell is only temporary, right? Like, this is not like it's going to generate a troop for you and it's going to be there for all time. But what the, like... What is this? I mean, this is Super Archer level of value, okay? This is maybe even better than Super Archer value, because we have not even invested all of the clone spells. This is ridiculous. What is this? What? Okay, because this looks so broken, I want to give it another try, okay? Take a screenshot. Maybe I'll use it for the thumbnail, but let's try it again. Let's try it again and see if we can replicate that, because this looked broken, okay? So, we have another blimp now flying in with the super dragons. Like with the one super dragon, we're going to clone. We're just going to fly in. We have to kind of respect the airspeed, but this is why I took this angle. And there we go. Clones in, rage in, turn everything invisible again. Kind of the exact same approach as we just had, with the one big difference. This time we do not have right away access to the monolith, to the core damage. And I feel like this is really the big difference maker with this strategy. If you can take down the damage in the core quickly, which can target your super dragons, you are going to be fine. You're looking great. The blimp is actually a viable option. I'm surprised I'm saying this. I thought this would be a super troll approach as with the super witches. But I have to say, the clone super dragon blimp is a valid option, and you should really look into it if you like super dragons, because it looks pretty good, not gonna lie, but it's base dependent. So overall, let me know what you think of the crazy stuff I tried in this video. Let me know if you have any different opinions about like the mini warden, whatever, but overall I have to say the mini apprentice warden just feels like for 20 housing space you're not getting enough. So they would need to either, in my opinion, improve the stats, or they would need to make it less housing space. I don't have the solution, to be honest, but I just think right now as it is, it won't get used that much. I just don't think it's that great overall. Well, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I see you guys back tomorrow with the next Clash video. Thank you so much for all of your suggestions, and if I missed any of those, let me know new suggestions down below in the comments. I will try them in the future video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow. Until then, and bye-bye.